Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to our CHTA Chat today. My name is Dr. Tashina Reeder. I am the director of the Community Health Training Alliance, and I am excited to have with me today Ms. Kia Harris Carr, who is the founder of Beautiful Faces Foundation. Welcome to CHTA Chat, Kia.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I am good. I'm rested, and I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you about your foundation.
Let's do it.
So, in light of, October, every month we're celebrating something around public health or to bring awareness to something, right? So people can remain informed about what's going on in our world and our health and all of that, right? And so October is reserved for a number of things, but more specifically, breast cancer and domestic violence is typically kind of honored in October. So there's lots of conversations, a lot of, fundraising happening around these two public health topics. Mm-hmm. And so having you here is major because you directly work with individuals impacted by both breast cancer and domestic violence, right?
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about who you are and how this came to be in terms of your work in these two areas.
Everyone always asks how the cancer support, I apologize, I'm falling apart over here, how the cancer support and domestic violence became a joint venture. And I am the founder and current director of Beautiful Faces Foundation. I wanted to create a platform after my own challenge with both breast and ovarian cancer, which were diagnosed within weeks of each other. I wanted to create a platform that supported any type of cancer, that you didn't have to get in this line if you were part of the pink ribbon crew, and you didn't have to get in this line if you were part of the teal ribbon crew. Mm-hmm. At the same time that I got my breast cancer diagnosis, a dear friend of mine lost her son to a domestic violence battle. And it was relevant not just for the month of October being awareness month to both, but to also highlight that both of them sometimes look very different than what people may be used to seeing from just kind of a public standpoint of what they may think having a cancer diagnosis or being part of a domestic violence situation may look like. And so Beautiful Faces was created to directly connect with people. During my own battle, I sat through many appointments, Tashina. I sat in many clinics. I talked with so many people that had real life issues, people that weren't prepared for these diagnoses, people that were challenged with, do I pay my light bill or do I pay for my chemo medicine? Do I send my kid to school and how am I going to get them through tuition, or do I pay my co-payments? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that just kind of sat with me very dominantly was, how do I help these people? How do I directly connect? And one of the themes that is very consistent throughout the foundation is connect. We do just that. We want to connect with the people. And so I wanted to sit with people in their treatments. I wanted to talk them through. I wanted to hear directly, what do you need that impacts your day-to-day living? And so while we put many efforts and a lot of resources into the research that sometimes people don't see on the front line, I also wanted it to be very resourceful for those immediate need things. Do you know what to take to your chemotherapy treatment? Do you know when you can't get food down and your mouth feels like metal, what to do next? I wanted to directly connect those things. And so that's how the outreach of what we do here came about.
Thank you. That was very detailed. And I say that because you're right. A lot of people oftentimes may lack awareness into the resources, lack awareness of what they actually need to take with them to treatments. Do they have support? Do they have the proper insurance? Do they have the financial resources? All of these things, you're right, people may not think of or realize they need to think of these things to go through their treatment for cancer. That's a very challenging time. And I imagine, many folks who are going through cancer, mentally, you're all over the place. You're trying to figure things out. You're scared. You're maybe feeling overwhelmed with all the unknowns, on top of trying to manage your finances and all of those things that come to play with that. And so that could be a lot for going through that. And so your foundation, I like the word you use, that you guys connect. So you're like a bridge, so to speak.
Absolutely. And we try to be, just again, thinking about the things that people you don't know what you need until you need it sometimes. And so we like to kind of be that power partner to connect with you and say, hey, by the way, you might need to think about this too.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. A great offering you have at your foundation. When you think about breast cancer and then you talk about how you connect, are you using that same approach for those who may have been impacted with domestic violence?
Absolutely. And domestic violence, because of the requirements for us to maintain certain confidentialities with it, the way we connect there looks very different. One of the most amazing things that I'll share with you and your viewers, Tashina, is that on the domestic violence side, some years ago, we started a project called the LOL Project, which stands for Letters of Love. And I would probably say the most just transparent moments that I've had with our domestic violence families and victims are the children that are affected there. Sometimes the children don't know how to navigate their way. Children are super resilient. And one of the things that we do is when allowed, of course, pre-pandemic, we had a lot more access to go into facilities and sit one-on-one with the people there. And even just giving an understanding of what happens in shelters. I don't think a lot of people realize that when men, women, children into a shelter, in some facilities, they're not allowed to have their cell phones for 30 days. Yeah. So it is quite a life-changing transformation for them. So after everything that they've endured, then sometimes the only result is for some people to go to a shelter with their children, with their families, and then the other aspects of life that you fight to hold on to are then taken away, even for a temporary reason. So that's a lot to process there. But from the domestic violence realm, I really wanted to shine a connector in keeping that theme of connect. Domestic violence is so much more than seeing a woman in a corner with a black eye. Or seeing someone who's doubled over because they've been pushed through a wall, and having those hard conversations, and also developing a platform for men that are affected by domestic violence to have a safe space where they could come and connect to resources without feeling like there's not a place for us. This is not understood. Because male domestic violence, just like male breast cancer, is something that we tend to focus more to the female perspective, but it is definitely a unisex challenge that we face with the people that we service.
Yeah, that's a good point you raised, specifically to the men. I believe that you're right. There are a lot of men who experience domestic violence and also experience breast cancer, but you don't hear about it. And I don't think that it's underreported. It's just underreported to the community, that we can make the awareness that this happens and it's relevant. It's important to talk to, so that our men can get the support that they need to heal, because it's traumatic for them as well. And I don't know what the answer would be to resolve that. I believe that there needs to be a coming together of services and understanding, but also kind of working to dispel stigma that men face, to talk about grief they're experiencing and having, experienced cancer. So it's a lot there to unpack so that they can receive the services that they need. Wow, that's a good point. So thank you for highlighting that point.
Thank you.
So in all of that, with breast cancer and with domestic violence, what are some things you would like to share to our viewers that you think is important for them to know in terms of connecting with resources and just having some information around the awareness?
I would probably say the first and most important thing that I often share with people, and I want people to know that just because I am the founder of this organization, I still answer the phones. I still respond to emails. I have a wonderful group of volunteers that make up our care team, but I still talk to people on a very regular basis to stay connected to what's needed. From a clinical perspective, I highly, highly, highly recommend people seeking a second and sometimes third opinion prior to making a decision about your care. Who you choose to care for you is probably one of the most important decisions that you will make from the cancer side of things. With my second diagnosis, I went to another state, completely to another state, to research a physician that I felt like was going to care enough about me to keep a certain wholeness to my body. And that's a whole different conversation. But sometimes I find that people go to one doctor, you get that diagnosis, and then your mind is just kind of everywhere else. And sometimes people don't think to get a second opinion. Sometimes people don't think to ask questions. Write down your questions before you go to that doctor's appointment. Connect with somebody, even if you don't know what to ask. Connect to somebody that's been there. Reach out to us. We'll be happy to talk with you and help you come up with your visit questions, as we call them. Research your doctors and genuinely seek yourself and say, why am I choosing this person to have such an important impact for something that's going to change a part of my life? That is probably the one thing that I can recommend that people do. The second thing is to create your village. Have your village together, your family. Sometimes in different cultures, I have come across kind of this stance of don't tell. And it's it's this, I don't know what I want to call it. I can't find the word that I'm searching for right now, but there's kind of this this hush mentality, so to speak. Like, I can't share that with my family because you feel shamed, or because maybe you don't want all of the questions that you're going to get that you're not prepared to answer. You are absolutely going to need every single person in your village in some capacity. I don't care if that person is there to fold your towels, if they're there to walk you to the bathroom, if they're there to go to appointments, if they're there to drive you, help coordinate meals. Your village is so essential. And that doesn't have to be a lot of people, but make sure you have some core people that you trust to help you through the process so that you're not alone. Sometimes it is much more emotional than it is physical. And sometimes just keeping your mind straight is allowing yourself to be a step ahead. So keep your village tight. And I would probably say, lastly, have some grace with yourself. The logo of Beautiful Faces is black and gold, and it represents being in the darkness, looking into light. I did that intentionally because cancer and or domestic violence tend to strip you of every part of normalcy that you have ever known. And so the reason that it's called Beautiful Faces, and the reason that I encourage people to have some grace with themselves, is because find something beautiful in your life. Find something beautiful in your day. It could be your favorite song. Turn the dial up and dance like nobody's watching. Sing out of tune like you are about to win a Grammy. Find the beauty in every single day to help you get through whatever it is that you're enduring. And so that is the concept behind the logo and Beautiful Faces. It's funny because when people hear Beautiful Faces, sometimes they're like, oh, cosmetic company, oh, a beauty product. But I love sharing how the name developed and what the concept is behind the logo colors. But be graceful with yourself and know that All the answers aren't going to come at once.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay to not be okay. It's don't get into the habit of, telling people, "Oh, I'm fine. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay." Tell people, "I'm having a horrible day." It's okay to say, "You know what, today's not such a great day. And I need you to pray with me. I need you to laugh with me. Have some good girlfriends and some good guy friends, and
Mm-hmm.
just some people that sometimes you need to pick up the phone and you don't know what to say, but somehow that other person knows how to connect with you."
Mm-hmm.
And so I encourage anyone facing either side of these issues to stay connected. It's not easy sometimes to verbally talk about it. We have a text message feature on our website, one, for safety reasons, and two, sometimes you just don't know how to talk to a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to, those of us that have been there, I think probably one of the hardest things is just telling people,
Yeah.
and then deciding where to go. Where does the conversation go from there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But be grateful with yourself.
I love all three of your points. They all resonate with me. And I believe those who will be watching it resonates with them as well, especially the one of asking questions. So often we shy away from asking questions because of our mindset of it's not a good question, or their thoughts of I may not be able to articulate my thoughts well to get the answers I need. And I understand some folks are challenged with their literacy. And so asking questions could be, a challenge for them. But to your point, to the next point, have a village so someone can come with you to help you with those questions, to help you navigate what you need to ask or support you in your appointments and learning more about what you're dealing with and what you need to do, right? Absolutely. And you're right, the village is so important. Oh my gosh, you're right. I believe it's more emotional than physical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you build that village, you tend to know that certain people are for certain things. Tashina, you have been part of my village for a very long time. And although we might not talk on a regular basis, I think we both know that if we need to reach out as sister friends, we can just pick up the phone and reach out to each other. And it's a pool of support. Not what are we going to say? Not why did you call me?
Right.
You just kind of know, like sometimes that's where the connectors are.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And last point, I completely agree with you about giving yourself grace. I think I share that all the time to ladies, like give yourself grace, but we could be our own worst enemy. We could be really hard on ourselves unnecessarily and just adding more pressure on ourselves, and just it's okay. You're right. It's okay to not be okay. That's when you tap into that village.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would probably say the only other 2 points that I want to share quickly, for those that have cancers in their family, and you kind of sit and you may wonder, am I going to be next? Is this going to hit me? Please consider genetic testing. It definitely helps build a assistance to your family to look at. My mother is a breast cancer survivor. My grandmother is a breast cancer survivor. And it took me a while to encourage my daughter, who's 23, to consider genetic testing. The next thing that I want to share is consider the clinical trials. Clinical trials save lives. Please, if you have an opportunity as part of your care, if you are at that phase or if one of your loved ones is at that phase, please consider the clinical trials. Don't think that you're being a guinea pig or a pincushion. They're there for a reason, and they're developed to help us on the clinical side be able to determine what works and what we need more of.
Thank you so much, Kia, for sharing your knowledge from your personal experience, but also as a nurse practitioner. Thank you so much for taking the time to impart some knowledge and some information to our viewers. But before we close, let us know how we can contact you at your foundation. If people are interested in finding you to find some supports or collaborate with you or connect with you, how could they find you?
Absolutely. The website is www.beautifulfacesfoundation.org. All one word. It is long, but just as it's read, Beautiful Faces Foundation. On Facebook and Instagram, we are at Beautiful Faces Foundation.
Awesome. I'll also add that in the comment section on our Facebook page. Kia, thank you so much for sharing, for spending minutes with us.
Thank you for this time.
Great rest of your day, and we will be in touch.
You as well. Have a great day, everybody.